Mike Pence is slinging mud at his old boss, so get out your opera glasses and get ready for a show. Welcome to Occupy Democrats. I'm David Reddish. Sometimes the dead speak, and you don't need a Ouija board to hear. Since leaving office in 2021, conventional wisdom says Mike Pence is politically dead. The reason? He actually did his job and remained loyal to the country rather than to Donald Trump. And as we all know, Trump wants loyalty more than anything else. And it all comes down to this.
Appointed to vote for President of the United States is 538. Within that whole number, a majority is 270. The votes for President of the United States are as follows. Joseph R. Biden, Jr. of the state of Delaware has received 306 votes. Donald J. Trump of the state of Florida has received 232 votes. The whole number of electors appointed to vote for Vice President of the United States is 538. Within that whole number, a majority is 270. The votes for Vice President of the United States are as follows. Kamala D. Harris of the state of California has received 306 votes. Michael R. Pence of the state of Indiana has received 232 votes. The announcement of the state of the vote by the President of the Senate shall be deemed a sufficient declaration of the persons elected President and Vice President of the United States, each for the term beginning on the 20th day of January, 2021, and shall be entered together with the list of the votes on the journals of the Senate and the House of Representatives.
You know, I never thought I would wax nostalgic for a moment so dry as personality vacuum Mike Pence reading off notes in the Senate, but here we are. Yet another sign of the strange times in which we live. Just like Pence's recent little rant against Trump. Stay tuned. Pence has spent the past 5 years defending his duty to certify the election, an effort only hampered by Trump's continued lies that Pence had the power to nullify the results.
Wasn't for your vote, we would not have Joe Biden in the White House. That was a constitutional right that you had to send those votes back to the states.
States conduct our elections. You never want to let Washington, D.C. run elections. The Constitution affords no authority for the Vice President or anyone else to reject votes or return votes to the states. Never been done before, should never be done in the future. I'm sorry, ma'am, but that's actually what the Constitution says. President Trump was wrong about my authority that day, and he's still wrong.
I can't believe I'm saying this, but I have respect for Mike Pence. Yes, the man promoted conversion therapy for queer folks and cut anti-HIV funding whilst governor of Indiana. There was also that weird bit where he talked about having to forgive his wife for having sex with someone else outside of marriage before he even met her. Even doing the right thing can't fix weirdness. But in due credit, Pence is doing the right thing again. Check this out. Writing an op-ed for the Wall Street Journal, Pence now blasts Trump's governance in his second term. He further encourages Trump to embrace the conservative principles he showed in his first term, such as they were, in hopes of saving the state of the country. Look, it all comes down to one word: tariffs. Pence, amid a lot of behind-licking about how Trump has made such a great comeback, solved the border crisis and created peace in the Middle East, which is a real stretch. Trump's former vice president warns that Trump is destroying the world economy, starting with the U.S. economy, of course, by engaging in his insane trade war. Pence writes, quote, "The first quarter of 2025 marked the second worst economic start for a presidential administration since Richard Nixon. The cause? A massive policy misstep in the form of sweeping tariffs imposed on friend and foe alike. Since the president announced his Liberation Day tariffs, the only thing America has been liberated from is trillions of dollars in its investments." End quote. Way to read the markets, Mike. He then goes on to say, quote, "Mr. Trump's proposed tariffs would be the largest peacetime tax hike in American history, harming consumers and driving inflation. Broad-based tariffs may scratch a populist itch, but protectionist economics are no substitute for principled conservatism. Instead of punishing free nations, we should rally them, uniting the democratic world in trade agreements that isolate China, not Europe, and our Pacific allies." End quote. Pence also goes on to praise Trump for taking on Iran's nuclear program, apparently forgetting that Barack Obama and John Kerry had actually gotten a deal with Iran to stop developing nuclear power, and the deal even gave the U.S. real leverage over the matter. Trump tore that deal up at the behest of Benjamin Netanyahu his first year in office. Trump, of course, has an irrational hatred of Obama and wants to destroy anything the man accomplished. Netanyahu, for his part, believed then and still believes he can manipulate Trump into invading Iran. In fairness to Trump, Lord help me, in fairness to Trump, I think he's going to focus on his trade war first, which is just as needless as a war with Iran and could cost the American people even more. Mike Pence may be a gay-hating misogynist wackadoo, he may have negative integer charisma, but in this case, he's right. Trump isn't adhering to conservative principles. I'm not sure the man even has principles. But this trade war, these tariffs, are suicidal, and they go into effect tomorrow. Let's all hope and pray that Mike Pence can get through to Trump and avert this meltdown before it really causes damage. This is Occupy Democrats.